Alright, so my trip to Sydney is going to be happening tomorrow and I'm excited. I'm looking a bit like Michael Jackson. Just got this thing on for allergies. And I'm working on a roof if you want to have a look. Look at this leafy suburb. Look at this little bit of a view there. And look at all these solar panels behind me. Whoa, solar panels. Whoa. So I'll be going to Sydney for about 4 days. And when I'm not in session doing my leaving church repair list, basically it'll be something to do with, it's not actually called leaving church repair list, but the auditors will know what it's called. It's like, I don't know, life repair or something like that. Handling bypass charge of being involved with the church or something. When I'm not in session doing that, I'll probably do one intensive of that. I'll be studying my data evaluators course through the Advanced Organisation of the Great Plains and their website. I'll be doing that on my computer because you can do it all online. But I'll be doing that in the Sydney course room. So I'll be studying and then doing session, which a lot of people do in Scientology, which is a good way to go about it because you can't spend the whole time in session. So on this 4-day weekend coming up, I'll get a lot of study done, which is good. Put this back on so I look like Michael Jackson. It's for allergies, by the way. It's good. So I'll get a lot of study done and I'll get this repair list done. Now, I'm not going to say yet who I'm going to be getting audited by. It does have something to do with Ron Zorg. And I'm not going to say where it will be at, but they've basically got like a mini course room set up, and me and a friend are going up, and he's going to be studying on his early OT levels for like a week. So that's kind of cool. I mean, when I get to Sydney, I'll ask the guy if it's okay for me on this video to mention his name and that sort of stuff, but in the past he didn't want to make it public. He just wanted to keep it low key. I guess for security reasons because of OSA and that sort of stuff. But anyway, I'm all excited. For the past week since it's been booked, I've been off in my head and in holiday mode, which is like a whole different way of operating. It's holiday mode or whatever. So I'm excited about going to Sydney, and I'm excited about being actually audited for the first time by an independent Scientology auditor, which is pretty exciting. I've heard good stuff about her. I heard she's pretty cool. But anyway, I got to get back to work. Yeah, you'll be hearing from me next when I'm flying up. Alright, hey, so people, I'm on the way to the airport, heading to Sydney. Everything's booked. I love airports. I think I was involved with airports in my past life and stuff. Just have good vibes about them. Like, I could just be a janitor in an airport and I would like it. And if I was a girl, I'll definitely be like a flight attendant or something. And as a kid, I always wanted to be a pilot, so I've always liked airports. Anyway, it's just a nice place. So I had something happen yesterday, a little car accident, and so that's completely changed what I might be doing when I get audited, because I've gone a bit PDS, so that changes everything. I mean, I was just thinking of doing the leaving church repair list, but I might have to do a PDS rundown or something like that, because over the past month I've had some other minor accidents, like dropping a spoon on the ground when you're making breakfast, or do you know those little ones, so now an actual proper accident, like a little car thing, is probably like a $1,200 worth of damage to my bumper bar and the car in front of me's bumper bar. So it's just a pain in the ass, and it's something that it's like dents on my bumper, so it's something that I'm definitely going to delay getting fixed on my car, because it's just like, it's not really that necessary. But it's a classic accident that I would get into when I go PDS. There are certain things when I go PDS that happen which are which are typical, like I'll get a speeding ticket, for example. I know some other people who can be long-term PTS and they'll never get a speeding ticket, but if I go PTS, boom, one of the first things I'll get is a copper will flash behind me and it'll be like, you're going 10 k's over the speed limit. And it's just like, I can have like a whole year and a half of no speeding tickets at all, no coppers flashing me, pulling me over, whatever. But as soon as I go PTS, boom, the bad luck comes in and I get a speeding ticket. I don't change the way I drive or anything when I'm PTS or anything, so that's why it's ridiculous. It's just amazing how you're cursed when you're PTS. So coming up to the freeway now. So this potential PTS situation has changed things. Hopefully I can still get everything handled because I've only booked 4 days up in Sydney. But anyway, I'm all excited. I'm all ready. There was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to get some footage of me in on the airplane. I'll try and get some footage coming over Sydney, because I remember last time I flew up to Sydney, the airplane like goes straight over the city, so you get these great views of the city. So I'll try and get them on the camera. And it was funny. Oh, I wanted to mention as well, this is what I wanted to say. So far I've spoken to the DFP or whatever like once, and my auditor like once. Like it's not at all like getting audited by the church, like as in, because the church stat pushes. Because a few years ago I was going up to Sydney to do something at the AO through the church. I mean, they would have had me pay for this 3 months ago. I haven't even paid for my auditing intensive yet. That's how casual and good it is. And they're not calling me up and nagging me and harassing me and annoying me like what they do in the church. Like, I mean, you let one of them know that you're interested in doing some auditing, and then next minute the other one, someone's calling you, then the register's calling you, then an auditor's calling you, they're like, you're going to come up to Sydney? And then they all just call you, and you're just like, Jesus, this is so annoying. And you're like, and I said to him, I remember years ago, I said to him, I go, I want to come up. You don't have to like force me. It's so ridiculous. And so, see, if you look at now with independent Scientology, I'm wanting to go up to Sydney. I'm actually contacting them. They haven't had to contact me, and I'm going to rock up. I'm going to pay. I'm going to do it, and you don't have to force me to come up there. See, I naturally go and do it myself. So, you know, it's just they just need to stop their stat pushing and hardcore regging, because it just annoys people, and it makes someone not want to go up. And then when they go up, they've been pressured into buying this, and they've been getting all these annoying calls in the weeks leading to going up. So it's harder for them to FN and all this sort of stuff, and they have all this bypass charge. It just ruins Scientology. Whereas I'm going to go up there, maybe just a tiny bit annoyed that they didn't contact me enough, which is just the complete opposite. You know what I mean? Which is much better. I prefer not to be contacted. I mean, it's nicer. You know, yeah, that's all. So it's just interesting how different independent Scientology is to the church. It's just so much nicer, and it's also cheaper as well. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Over and out. It's Captain Andy. Alright, I'm here on the train travelling through Sydney. I'll just show you some good views just so you can check them out of Sydney. You see that? Whoa, that's Sydney. Whoa, do you see all that? Alright, so I'm in Sydney and I'm making my way to where I'm going to do the auditing and stuff. And you wouldn't believe it. I saw someone from Bridge, like a Sea Org member from Bridge. Okay, so the Sea Org person went to the optometrist, which is pretty normal for Sea Org people. They go in, they get their glasses adjusted or something. And we're not far, well, I think we're almost walking distance from the fancy advanced organisation. So it's probably, you know, just a Sea Org member going and getting her glasses adjusted. It's nothing sneaky, which I thought it might be, which would be really cool. Anyway, Alright, so just on the way to the place to get audited, and I've got to do a questionnaire and that sort of stuff. I wrote up a big com last night for the CS, give them all my data, give them all my case history and stuff to help them out with their CSing and that. Like I went over my, all the auditing I've done from Dianetics all the way up to grade 4, all the details that they know and wins I got and that sort of stuff, and if I thought that certain things were not flat, that sort of stuff. So it ended up being quite a long com, one of those real big long comms to the CS because all the data. It's just funny because I just passed the church's, what's it called, their advanced org in Chatswood in Sydney. It's just funny because it's just talk about synchronicities. Like you'd think it would be where I'm going would be in another part of the city, and if I was to head there, I wouldn't actually pass the advanced org, but I literally passed the advanced org and I think I saw the back of the building from the main road. This is what it looks like. It's really bushy Sydney compared to Melbourne. It's just sort of more tropical or something up here. Alright, so I've just got to check into my Airbnb, which is by coincidence again another synchronicity, literally 90 metres away from where the place is. I'm doing this independent Scientology. I didn't plan it for that way. I just wanted it to be in the same area, but it ended up being a stone's throw away, like literally the building behind, which is really awesome. I just saw them first before I'm going to check into the Airbnb, and this afternoon I did a DFP interview, which handled a lot. It was like almost a session because it was one of those big hour-long ones, and I did a questionnaire as well, and I gave my note to the CS about my case and all that sort of stuff, and it was a great interview, and I used the wireless cans which we've got in independent Scientology, which are much better than the ones in the church. It was a great interview, and so I'll find out whatever actions I have to do, and when I'm not being audited, I'll be studying my data evaluators course. I spoke to the people in the makeshift centre, and they want to it's permanent, but it's not like a building with 100 people in it or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like it's small, but it's good, and you can actually get standard tech in it. But I spoke to them about saying names and all that sort of stuff, and they were happy to say it's Ron's org, but they don't want specific names for security reasons and all that sort of stuff. But they said I can get some footage of inside it, and I'll do that tomorrow, but not showing people's faces and that sort of stuff, because they're people who have left the church and they want to stay under the radar because their family's still involved with the church, and they're auditors who don't want to get attention from OSA, so that's just they're better off keeping it quiet, so which makes total sense, and rather safe than sorry when you're dealing with this sort of subject, especially since OSA has the ability to do things like kill people's cats. They'll kill someone's dog if you come out and annoy the church. They'll do something to try and get back at you, and they might kill your dog. Like literally, they might poison it. Anyway, I'll go check into my Airbnb, but it's all looking up. It's all looking good, and I'm gonna have a good trip. All right, I'm just studying now on my laptop in the course room, but I'm going to go in session soon for my first session, and it'll be like review auditing, and for security reasons I'm going to keep it quiet and not mention names and addresses and all that sort of stuff. It's just safer that way, but yeah, it's cool, and I'm ready for my first session. I had a big sleep last night, and while I'm waiting for my auditor, I'm going to do a lot of this data evaluators course. Alright, I just finished my first session, and it was like I had a bunch of realizations. Actually had a lot to do with my family and stuff, but it was like probably maybe 3 major realizations on things, but it was very philosophical, and I learnt heaps from it. Definitely very happy with it. Actually, it was one of my best on the meter sessions I've had in Scientology. I was just trying to get into studying my course, and after the session I've had, it's like I don't even know if I can go into study after that session. It's almost like I need to sit and ponder on the realizations I just had and stuff. But it's just, sometimes it's like that in Scientology, where you have such a big win or such a big realization or something where you need to just chill out after it, you know? It's like suddenly now I'm trying to go into data and studying the data evaluators course, and it's like I suddenly have to go, whoa, I have to think totally differently. It's like I don't know if I even want to start studying. Alright, so I'm just out for dinner right now, but today I had a few sessions on a PDS handling. It's actually my first auditing in the independent field, in independent Scientology, and it has been some of the best, probably the best auditing I've had, really, like on the meter, because there's no problems. It's just really simple and easy, and there's not the annoyance of the church and all that sort of stuff. And I think they use a more correct definition of what an FN is and stuff. But I have had some fantastic realizations, some real deep ones, handling stuff to do with family and stuff that's really Div 60. Really, it's not out there spiritual tech or anything. It's just really straightforward, basic stuff. So yeah, it's looking great, and I've been doing a bit of study as well, and meeting some other indie Scientologists. So it's great, and I've got a good thing going on. And I just thought I'd make this video, and I thought it'd be really funny because people want to stay on the down low and keep it secret, right? Like not many people want to publicly come out as being independent Scientologists because they might have family involved with the church. That's why I'm not making videos with these people in the background and naming names and stuff. So I just thought it'd be funny, because I sometimes get accused of not really being a Scientologist. It'd be funny if people thought I actually came to Sydney, or pretended like I was going to Sydney, pretended like I was getting audited, and really I was never getting audited. Like, I just thought that would be funny. You know, because the Scientology haters, they claim I'm not a Scient. Like some people claim I'm not really an independent Scientologist. I literally get accused of pretending to be an independent Scientologist. So I thought it would just be really funny if that was actually what was going on, but it's not. But I can't show you the people in the background who actually are here. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. Alright, so I'm just in here studying in the course room, and I've been getting sessions and stuff. It's been going good, had lots of realizations and stuff, but I just want to show you here some of these original books from Scientology that were in the 70s and how thin they are. I'll pull out the ethics book. Have a look how thin the ethics book is. It's outrageous, these original books. I'll just show you here the shelf if you can see. Do you see that? Do you see how thin those books are? But anyway, here's another one. Here's like, I mean, they're just outrageously thin. They're just so basic and so good, and they haven't been scribbled and stuff, but it's just amazing how much the church has done to the books and scribbled them. The only book here, which you can see here, which is still pretty big, is Science and Survival, right? But what's happened with that is that the church has actually taken material out of Science and Survival. So a lot of the other basic books, they've added stuff to them and made them bigger, right? And repeated stuff. But Science and Survival, they took out a lot of data. But I'll just get you another shot here just so you can actually see and understand how much RTC is screwed with the tech. See that? See those basic books? Look how thin they are. You gotta see them to believe them. Like, I mean, this ethics thing is just, look at this ethics book. You have to see how big the ethics book is these days. It's so massive and chunky. But Scientology is really just quite simple and just has principles and doesn't need to be so much words and all that sort of crap. And if you look at it, these books here were from the 70s and they're standard tech, right? After that, L. Ron Hubbard passed away, and the books just get bigger and bigger, and they get more and more squirreled, and the stats of the church go down and down and down because it's just been messed with. Anyway, I'll just continue studying. Now, there's one other thing I want to quickly show you, right? If you look here in what I'm studying, I'll show you this on the computer. Do you see that? Hold on a second. Do you see that? There's this website called dicts.pro, and it's got all the Scientology dictionaries combined. So if you've got a word like PDS that you want to look up, it's really handy. It's made by the Ronsold people in Russia, but you type it in and then it comes up the dictionaries where that term is found, and you click on it and then you get the definition. So it's just so easy. It's one source of where you can get definitions for things. So I'm studying this course and I don't need to have all these dictionaries. I've got 2 English language dictionaries. Then you've got the internet and Wikipedia where you can look up videos and all this sort of stuff. But also there's this Scientology dictionary website called dicts.pro, dicts.pro. Go to that and you can just save that as a bookmark, and then you can just go straight there and you can get it. So it's just fantastic studying online. Alright, so I've had some more sessions and they've worked out really good. I've had had a big win. I've become more in touch with my godlike being, the ability to manipulate the matrix, if you know what I mean. So I think that's about as high as you can go as a win, to realize that you can control everything with your considerations. I honestly think that's pretty much as high as you can go. You can have different harmonics where you feel that feeling even more and even more, but that is a category, I think, of the biggest wins you can have, is to realize that, and that's what I've had. I've been having persistent FNs and having to end sessions because of them and stuff, and it's just much better doing Scientology outside the church, really. And it's not like you need to have some lovey-dovey high ARC environment. The environment is high ARC, but not in that silly lovey-dovey sort of way, it's just high ARC. Like, you don't have regs annoying you, or you don't have sec checks annoying you and all these other things. You just go in, you just do your auditing, and it's just so simple and so easy, and the auditor doesn't have to continually put in buttons or
Thanks for riding with us.
Run into problems and all that sort of stuff, and then go to ethics. It's just not happening because the tech's actually working the way it's supposed to work. Alright, so I'm just looking here on the bookshelf, right, and I showed you before how the church has scribbled some of the books, and the ethics book here, Introduction to Scientology Ethics, is way thinner. This is how the original one was, and now in the church it's this massive thick book. Well, anyway, there's also all these books in the bookshelf that they don't sell anymore in the church. They've just disappeared, like Child Dianetics. You've got a book about the second dynamic, a whole thick book here. Have a look at this. A whole thick book about the second dynamic. It's disappeared. You've got Have You Lived Before This Life? Disappeared. We've got Mission into Time. I don't think they sell that in the church anymore. And there's also Dianetics Today, which is epic. This massive book, Dianetics Today, from the 70s. The church doesn't sell it anymore. It's just disappeared. And so when they released their GAT1 and GAT2 and their Golden Age of Knowledge, they just cut all this tech out. This massive book about Dianetics. Look how massive this is. This is Dianetics Today. That's disappeared. It doesn't exist anymore. They've just deleted it from history. The church has. Totally screwed. And there's one more here. No, that's about it. Anyway, it's just outrageous how much tech they've deleted. Alright, so I've just finished my auditing and I'll be heading back to Melbourne, and this is the auditing room. Let me see, can you see that? It's the table and the chair and all that. And there's the little block, where is it, the E-meter cover thing. We were using a theta meter, but the auditor was using this cover, to block the worksheets and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'll talk to you later about my wins. Alright, so the advanced org is somewhere along here filming. I don't know when it's going to come up, but it'll come up soon. Somewhere near here. That's where it is. Alright, wow. Here's some views of Sydney, just leaving the airport. It's a really densely packed city, Sydney. Like if you can see, that is the city of Sydney. I know it's at night time, so you can't really see much detail, but from where I am, it looks a lot nicer. It's like lit up like a Christmas tree. Yeah, and it's much more densely packed city than Melbourne. Melbourne's more spread out. Alright, so that's it. I've finished the auditing. I'm back in Melbourne and it's late at night. The trip went well. I didn't have to stay back for extra time in Sydney to finish my auditing action, which is what usually happens when you deal with the church, and that's what happened last time when I dealt with the AO. Had to stay back a few extra days and I still didn't finish the cycle, and they were trying to force me to stay back, and end up having to leave on like an ARC break and like a fight. Like I had to force my reality. I had to be like, I'm leaving. I need to go back to Melbourne and go back to work. I finished the PDS handling, and I think I'm a bit worn out because like it was like, well, it was confronting and stuff, but I got some big wins from it, and I think I handled the problem. I didn't end up doing a leaving church repair list or anything like that, which kind of doesn't surprise me. Like maybe there wasn't time for it, but also I don't regret my time with the church, and I really don't have that much charge. You know, in the videos I've made and stuff, I've said my complaints about the church and that sort of stuff. I've sort of blown all the charge on that topic, and I don't regret my experience. It was a great 6 years, and I actually recommend people to get involved with the church for like 6 years, and don't give them too much money, but it's a really interesting experience. Anyway, so I'm back in Melbourne now, and the auditing, I just had heaps of persistent FNs, which really doesn't happen that often, and usually what happens a lot with the auditing in the church is that I always need to have my roods flown, if you know what I mean. Like they continually ask for, PTPs and overts and withholds and all that sort of stuff, because I'm obviously not FNing on the meter that much, and it's because the whole cycle is a pain in the ass. Like it's expensive, you're having to deal with regs and all this annoying stuff. Well, you don't have all that crap when you do independent Scientology. You just go in there and you just handle what you need to handle, and I needed to do a PDS rundown. I did it, and I was just FNing the whole time, and there wasn't all these problems. I had a fantastic auditor, best auditor I've had, no roboticness, and very highly trained for a great price. Ended up being like $90 an hour. That's so reasonable. That's just what it's worth. That's what it should be, no $200 or $300 an hour stuff. So yeah, I had a great trip and it was good, and it was just so funny because it was about 3 years ago when I went up to the AO to do the auditing in the church last, and I went up there and I didn't do what I wanted to do, the auditing action wise, and I didn't even complete whatever they wanted. They basically just threw me onto sec checks, but I didn't complete it, and then stayed for extra days, spent heaps more money, and it was just a bad experience. You know what I mean? Whereas now I spent barely any money, I spent much less time, I got great wins, and it was much better. And in fact, when I rocked up to Sydney Airport, when I went 3 years ago and when I went tonight to Sydney Airport, I basically rocked up at similar times, and it just reminded me, in a similar part of the airport, just reminded me of 3 years ago. And I felt sad because when I rocked up there 3 years ago, it was like after I had this messed up trip to the advanced org, and I thought that trip was going to be great, but it was just ended up being a big make wrong, and just the whole time just asking for withholds and overts, just the whole time over and over again. And I think it's partially because they use the wrong definition of FN, whereas independent Scientology uses standard tech LRH definition of FN. So I could actually FN on with my independent Scientology auditing, but with their one I couldn't, and also possibly because of the annoyance from regs and ethics officers and all that sort of stuff. But But when I rocked up to Sydney Airport 3 years ago, I was so sad after the ARC break and having to tell the staff there, you know, I'm leaving, I'm going back to Melbourne, I need to go. And I just left sad, like genuinely depressed. And so when I went back to Sydney this time, I actually started feeling sad because it reminded me of how sad it was last time I was there. And it was just really interesting. I was just like, whoa, I left Sydney Airport really upset last time. And then 6 months after that, I found out the truth about the church and I left. But it was all a big learning experience. But I think that's all I wanted to say. I don't know. There was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, the ethics stuff as well. It's great in independent Scientology because you can talk to them about overts and not be concerned about having a massive ethics cycle and them ordering you sec checks and then having to get into arguments with ethics about disagreements as to what is right or wrong conduct. And so when I actually went up there to get audited, I said things that if I said it to the church, I have no doubt they wouldn't even put me in the auditing chair. They would have routed me straight to ethics and maybe do all this crap in ethics, and I wouldn't have even gotten audited, basically. Whereas in independent Scientology, they didn't care about my overts because they know that like I'm on my own mission and I've got to work out my own survival actions, and the best solution to people's ethics is to just put them in the session and get them up the bridge, and then they become more ethical as you get up the bridge. Seriously, I'm way more ethical than what I was 10 years ago, and it's because I'm more aware, more switched on, more theta and stuff. That's how you get someone more ethical. Anyway, so that was really, really good, the ethics part of it. I was really happy about that. So anyway, overall, I rate, I don't know, the experience 4.5 stars out of 5, and my experience of getting audited in Sydney 3 years ago in the church, probably 0.5 star. So that's a big difference. And it was awesome, and I also spoke to other Scientologists, which was great, and I got to talk about conspiracies and the truth and all that sort of stuff, and it was a great adventure and learning curve and stuff. So that was good networking, meeting other independent SIOs, got to help people with drilling on their courses, and met some people who potentially could audit me in Australia, which is really great because I always had the idea I might have to go to Europe or South Africa or Jonathan Burke in America to get audited. But the truth is that amazingly there is a fair few indies, especially there's a bit of a thing going on in Sydney, especially in Sydney. So sorry, my bag nearly got caught or something. But that's really good because I can actually go clear in Australia with Ronsorg, which is really, really good. I wasn't aware of that, and also because I've been doing online courses with Jonathan Burke's website, I actually think it's really good, the online courses, and it's fantastic, and I can go and do that in Australia. So it just sort of opened me up to not being concerned about relying on an org to go clear and having to travel overseas. I can do it from Sydney, and I can do a lot of study from Melbourne. So it's awesome. Whereas I wasn't quite aware of that, so I had to save up heaps of money and go overseas. And in fact, I actually prefer the online courses more because I can do them alone, you know, in my room, without distractions, and in a course room you have to help people drill and all that sort of stuff, and it's actually a lot better. And so also I'm aware of how technology has really helped independent Scientology and how to do Scientology if you don't have an org in your local area. I'm telling you, you can do online courses, and because of the internet you can do video calls and you can send photos, you can communicate, and you can have all your dictionaries and all that sort of stuff, Google searches, all on the internet and computers. It makes studying so much easier. You don't really need an org, and also you can also get audited, and your auditor sends that data via the internet to the CS, so they can send photos and all that sort of stuff. So if this was 20 years ago, you just couldn't do independent Scientology. You just couldn't do Scientology away from your city unless you had an org in your city. But now you really can. Technology is awesome. So anyway, get on it. And so I just wanted to say that. And yeah, over and out. I hope you like my video.